hamartia, which translates to the error of judgment. And this is a kind of a central idea in Greek tragedy, which is the influence of our actions upon our suffering. So Greek tragedy often was centered around the family and the tragedy of our choices and the intervention of the gods. So Hereditary...
I don't understand something. I have to stop because I don't understand something.
Yeah.
If hamartia is the error of judgment, doesn't that imply that there is something beyond fate that causes this? Because if you had an error of judgment, if it is your own error and that you own that in some sense, and it's not fated already, then there is some sense that not everything is fated. So I don't understand that.
Yes, good. This is a perfect question because this is why this movie is not a perfect prescription of the lack of free will. Now, hamartia, I wish I could say it right and with confidence, but you get the point. Hamartia is...
Say it right. Try it.
I don't know what right is. I think it's... I have to say it with tentatively.
There shouldn't be a sh. There should be no sh in it. TIA. Because
hamartia. They don't have that in the language? Okay.
Well, I'm just gonna say it. Who cares? No one knows.
All right.
No one. There's some like guy who speaks ancient Greek that's like,
let us
these
know.
Dummies.
Yeah. These
but
dummies.
Who cares?
Okay.
No one cares.
So the idea of hamartia does leave room for will. It does leave room for will. And so what's so interesting about hamartia as a concept for this movie is that this movie does kind of toy with the idea that they did have some will. So there's this idea that everything has been set in motion, that there's a bunch, you have that, I forget what her name is, the Joanne, that's kind of like, oh, I'm just here to help. But Joanne already knows what's going on. Joanne is in on the plan. Joanne is setting up events that seem to happen serendipitously, but they are, she's part of this bigger plan that the family is unaware of, which is something that I find very this is part of the movie that really bothered me, and it's a very subtle kind of horror, which is these characters that everybody knows what their end is except for them. There's something very vulnerable about that position where other people know your tragic, pathetic end, and you are, ignorantly going about your life grocery shopping and saying, well, this is weird. Wow, I can't believe I met Joanne at the store. And Joanne's like, this stupid asshole. She doesn't know that I have her daughter in a cabin or whatever, or some crazy shit. So I think it's very this is one of the weird, ominous elements of the film, is that the family actually does act as if they are totally, and this is the fun idea in this film, is that you have these people that do act, as most of us do, that they have total free will over everything. And there is something that has been set in motion, and there are players in their life that are enacting something that they don't realize they have little control over. And so hamartia, as a lens for viewing this film, the error of judgment and the influence that the individual's actions have upon their own suffering, is tied along with the intervention of the gods, which is a big deal in this film, because this is the whole thing, is that there is the King Payman and this cult intervening into these people's lives to force upon them a fate, but they make choices. They do make choices. And you have that scene at the dinner table where the mom kind of loses her shit at the son, and she says, I know it's not your fault, but your sister is dead, and this is what happened, and it's like she does blame him in a way. And then he turns back to her and says, well, you sent her to the party. And this is kind of that very simple idea that you made one very small, very seemingly insignificant choice that may have been the crucial difference in a tragedy. And that's the idea of hamartia. It is, what was the individual's error that contributed to their suffering that makes them this tragic figure, when there is an intervention with the gods here, which of course that pole that she gets beheaded on had the insignia. That wasn't entirely an accident, but the mother did send her to the party? What if she had not sent her to the party? Did she have a choice? Did that choice to send her to the party put into motion something more tragic, and that's when the gods intervened? Or could she have not sent her to the party, and maybe it would have happened anyway in some other realm, but we don't know? And that's the kind of idea of hamartia, this Greek tragedy, that you have these tragic characters that are being impressed upon by the gods, but they still do make choices that seem to contribute to their own suffering. And you had a great line that actually you accidentally said. Yeah, you accidentally said a line that was that is, I found a corollary to it in Seven Against Thebes, which is, I think, another play in in the Greek tradition. And so that line was, "From ills given by the gods, there is no escape." And your line was, "The gods manipulate us from the lies of our own mouths." And it is cool because you can see that there is a very strong theme in this movie of the divine or demonic intervention and the role that the figure plays in facilitating that into even a further tragedy.